What's up, friends? It's your girl here, Khela, with my 2019 bullet journal setup video for you guys. Now, you're probably saying, wow, this girl's really light. And yes, I know that. But I figured I shouldn't be so hard on myself, considering that I really did want to take the last few days of 2018, nice and slow and spend time with my family. I also had to help out set up for our English is hard, for our New Year's Eve party, and there was just really no time to have this video up before the new year, but I figured it was going to be okay to have this video out on the first few days of 2019. It's okay, it's all right. I'm going to cut myself some slack. And I also spoke to a bunch of other friends who like to bullet journal, and they pretty much told me they haven't set up their bullet journal yet. And so if you're one of those people, you can join us and not feel bad about not setting up our bullet journals in time for the new year. Again, English is hard. So if I stutter at any point in this voiceover, I'm really sorry. I'm embracing the fact that I like to stutter, and I have a bit of a, accent sometimes, and I tumble over my words, and I tend to repeat a bunch of words. Just to let you know, English, I'm proficient in English, I'd like to say, but it is my second language, so yeah, I'm trying hard not to feel so bad about myself this new year when it comes to that, because I used to scrap videos over the way I spoke, and you know what, 2019 is a year we're gonna have to stop doing that. We're gonna be proud of the way we speak. We're gonna not feel so bad and not self-deprecate, and yeah. And so if that's not something that you like, I'm really sorry. We're just gonna have to deal with my funny way of speaking. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the theme of the setup portion of my 2019 bullet journal. So last year I ended off really liking my last theme for, I believe, November, and it was this beautiful kind of muted blue, light blue theme with stars and mountains, and I really had that theme resonate with me because I think for some reason I internally knew that that was something that would kind of reflect what my 2019 would look like. A lot of things are going to be happening for this year for me. I will be traveling for a good portion of the beginning months after I graduate, and obviously I dropped that one kind of weirdly. Sorry, the sequencing is odd, but what I meant to say was I'm graduating this year, and then after I graduate, I'll be doing a good amount of traveling with my family, and then I might be traveling on my own. And then there's a whole, the whole thing about graduating and finding a job, and I feel like 2019 is going to be inundated with migrating myself from studenthood and academic life and going into being an adult. And I feel like for some reason when I was reflecting on that in 2018, it felt like thinking about all these things felt like a unsurmountable mountain, and I felt like I was standing at the base of this mountain, and at the top was adulthood, and I just felt really intimidated. But I don't like having my fears pretty much freeze me in place, and that's why I want to embrace it as much as possible. And what better way, sorry, that's what I was trying to say, what better way to embrace something that makes me uncomfortable than having it be my theme for 2019. And so I carried over that theme from my November spread last year, and pretty much blowing it out for my setup pages. Now, I started off here with my Tombow Fudenosuke pen and wrote down a quote that says, "Somewhere between the bottom of the climb and the summit is the answer to the mystery of it all," or I believe of life. I don't know, but I found that quote, and I felt like it's a very good quote, very nice to start off 2019. And obviously I'm gonna take my fine point pen, I believe this is my Copic 0.05 nib fine liner, and I'm just gonna draw this illustrative mountain range, and I'm gonna bring in that same muted blue color to shade in the shadow portions of the mountain range. I'm also going to take that same Tombow marker and write out, you know, a nice little hello message for 2019, and then I'm pretty much going to take that same fine liner pen and do a little outline of the letters and the numbers, and then I'm going to add in some cute little details, as you're going to see in a little bit. So if you got to watch my 2018 walkthrough, it was a bit of a chit-chat walkthrough, and I pretty much showed you guys at the end portion of that video that I really like to doodle, I really like to draw, and one of the things that I'm carrying over from my 2018 bullet journal is that in the beginning page, I believe it was the very first page of my, no, I think it was, yeah, it was the first page of my bullet journal, I drew a kind of an illustrated version of myself in my, you know, art style, and it was me in my cute little baker boy hat, and I figured I should kind of do that for 2019, but this time, you know, change it up. I wanted to incorporate my cute little space buns that I've been sporting for, I believe a good portion of December. I think it's going to be the hairstyle of 2019 for me, and I just wanted to add in this cute little doodle, a very quick one. I'm using kind of a combination of my Fudenosuke pen and that same Copic Fineliner. And so to not make this drawing feel so flat, I'm going to add in that light blue drop shadow using one of my Tombow markers, add in kind of like a, you know, semi background in a way that's roughly colored. So now we're going to move on to our year at a glance. Now I do this a little differently, at least I don't see a lot of people do it the way I do it. I know most people dedicate, you know, a full page of just the months of the full calendar year, and then they dedicate a different page where they make, you know, the different important dates and notes and things that might come up for each month in a completely different spread. Now the way I do it is I put all the months and all the dates and all that, and I leave enough space to make notes as the year goes by. I just want to be able to look at one full page. I mean, you know, it doesn't have to be a one page, but, you know, I just want to be able to look at one part of my bullet journal, see all the, you know, the months and the dates, and see everything that's going to be going on. I don't want to have to look at two separate pages to do that, and this is how I pretty much do it. And so the approach for this year, I really wanted to, again, I'm carrying in that, you know, nice blue theme, and I wrote down all the dates and all the months, and what I'm pretty much doing is I divided, I believe that you call them quarters. I divided the months into quarters. It's going to be 3 months on the top portion of one page, and then 3 more months on the bottom portion of that same page, and I'm leaving just enough space to be able to write in between. And so as you can see, I took that same Copic marker fine liner and I pretty much, you know, wrote down all 365 days. It was very tedious, but, you know, it was fun now that I'm seeing it, you know, all put together. It's really cool. And the approach that I wanted to do for at least the way I wanted this page to look was I wanted the names for each month to kind of be an overlay. I wanted it to kind of be sitting in the back of the fine liner writing, and that's what I pretty much did. I wrote them nice and big and, you know, nice and cursive, and I think it turned out really, really well. So the next thing that I'm going to be doing is something that I have been contemplating on doing on my old bullet journal, but I decided I should reserve it for, you know, my new one for this year, and it was definitely incorporating watercolors. It's been something that I've been wanting to do, and I'm glad that the Leuchttrum pages are actually resilient enough to be able to kind of take watercolors, and you're gonna see this, how resilient the pages are in the next few minutes. I wanted to take that light blue color from my watercolor palette and kind of add a nice little faded wash on the bottom of my page. And it turned out really, really well. I really, really like the effect of watercolor. It's kind of one of my favorite mediums. And I definitely wanted it to be something that I want to get comfortable with for the new year. So you're going to be seeing this a lot in my next few bullet journals. I'm going to be bullet journal videos. I definitely wanted to just incorporate this new medium, and I wanted to show you guys that it's possible to go beyond you know, Tombows and markers and fine liners. And so yeah, I had a lot of fun, and obviously if you don't feel the need to do this, don't do it. Don't feel pressured, you know, it's all good. It's fine. But if you definitely want to try it, I highly recommend it, especially if you like, you know, faded pastel-y colors like I do. It's a fun thing to do. So the way that I'm using the watercolors is using my Koi brush pen. So this brush pen is really cool because you can load it up with water inside the reservoir that's attached on the body of the pen, and then you can just, you know, squeeze the pen and have it dispense out water through the brush tip. Again, English is hard, you guys. So the next thing that I'm going to be working on is my goals page. So my goals page is probably one of my most important pages for each time I set up my bullet journal. I'm sure it's probably one of the most important pages for a lot of people's bullet journal setup, but I really, really like my goals page. I really want it to be something that I can go back to anytime and reflect on. And essentially what I do is I pretty much reflect on my goals from last year, see what I've achieved, see what needs to be worked on, see what I can kind of change to better understand a better approach to kind of achieve what I want to set out for myself. And so I wanted to be a very zen page, and that's why I'm taking those same watercolors and I'm drawing mountains. It was a lot of fun. I think it was a very, very nice, peaceful moment painting those very simple looking mountains. Obviously I'm doing the very basic perspective, you know, things with the mountains. I don't know if this is something that people did in art school, but at least when I was taking art classes is we always did mountains, and they always taught us that the farther the mountain, the darker the shade, and that's something that I wanted to make sure I carry through while I was doing this page. And I also wrote down, you know, the word goals to remind myself, hey girl, this is your goals page, with that same brush pen, using the same colors that I pretty much used to make that mountain group. It's not a range, right? So I think it's a group of mountains. And I'm doing the same wash of blue from the previous page. So this next page, or at least this next set of pages, is going to be something that I'm really excited to do, but also kind of nervous because it's kind of straying away from what I usually do when I set up my bullet journal. So in my previous bullet journals, I used to kind of dedicate individual spreads for stuff like bucket lists, in a sense of, you know, it has to be a very specific category. Like, this is a spread specifically targeted for books that I want to read for the year, and then another spread specifically targeted for, you know, food places that I want to visit, and another spread that's, you know, just very specifically made for listing down movies that I want to see for the year. And honestly, whenever I do list style spreads, I very, very rarely end up looking at them. I kind of just don't like, when it comes to those things, being organized in a sense, in the sense that I don't like the idea of listing them down. It feels like a chore. I think that's the reason why I don't end up looking back at them, because it feels like, here's a list of things, and you know, if you don't follow it, then you kind of fail at, you know, following the list that you intentionally made for yourself at the beginning of the year. And so that's why instead I'm doing a big bucket list spread page thing for me this year. I call it the 2019 bucket list, and it's going to range all different kinds of things from, you know, books that I want to read, movies that I'm really anticipating to do. It's going to be like a brain dump page, essentially, instead of a list. I'm just going to dump all the things that I want to do this year. And you're going to be able to see me filling out this list closer to the latter end of the video. So, yeah. So this next spread I want to dedicate to my weight loss tracking page. And before anybody tries to come for me for doing this spread, I just want to let you know that I know what I'm doing. You know, I'm very well aware of crash dieting and all of the very unhealthy things that you can do while you're trying to lose weight. I know. But that's kind of the reason why I'm doing this spread, so I can properly monitor how I'm losing weight and see what works for me month by month, and see what I can carry over from the previous months, and see what I can stop. And obviously, I'm not expecting to lose weight right away. Weight loss has been something that I've been struggling with for a while now, and I definitely want to do it the healthiest way possible. I'm doing my research. I'm talking to professionals, so there's no need to worry. I'm doing this, you know, in the healthiest way possible, and I feel like the best way to hold myself accountable is making sure that I write it down and, you know, take notes. And I also just want to be able to see my improvement in terms of weight. So I am overweight for my frame. I can definitely see it. Parts of me are starting to hurt. I'm not as, you know, kind of resilient as I used to be. I used to be a runner. I used to be able to run for an hour and have no problem. I used to do 100 squats in, you know, 25 minutes, and that would be no problem. And now I'm not that same person, and I have my own goals for the way I want to kind of look. You know, I'm happy the way I am, but I definitely want to be better. I don't envision myself to look like a model. I frankly want to look like I can crush somebody with my bare hands, but you know, I'm a 5'2" small Asian girl, so we'll see how that works out. But yeah, I just want to help myself out in terms of that goal. So what I'm doing here now is I'm obviously filling in my goals page. So I have several other goals that I want to achieve this year, other than losing weight, obviously, but I'm going to be dedicating a completely different video for that. I want to talk about my goals more in depth in a another video, so I'm not going to talk about them too much in this one. I wanted to kind of make this page a little more fun because I felt like the wash of blue was, you know, a little too monotonous for me, so I added cute little drawings with that same 0.05 fine liner pen. And so now we're moving on to that bucket list page, and I believe I already explained it before, but I'm just kind of putting that down, writing down different movies, books, and things that I want to do in the year, using kind of like, you know, drawing out a line from the center of the page from the set of words that I laid down there, and just writing down everything. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what this is going to look like at the end of the year when I add more stuff into it. So we're getting to that end part of my setup pages, and I just wanted a definite divide between my setup pages and the, you know, the monthly spreads that are going to come after it. And so I, instead of dedicating just one page to divide, I just folded up that page in half. And also, I'm not trying to hide the fact that I made a mistake, but yeah, I made a mistake, and that's why I folded it up. But I thought that was actually a better idea, because then I could definitely see that page stick out when I have my bullet journal close. And what I essentially did was I wrote on both sides, "Here we go," in two different languages. So the first language that I wrote down in was in Italian, and it's called andiamo, and it's another way of saying "here we go," as in here we go, you know, this is the start of the year. If this is your first time in my channel and I don't stop talking about this, I studied abroad in Italy this year. Last year I studied abroad in Italy in the summer, and it was such a big part of my life. It was really life-changing. It was great. It was awesome. I actually have a video summing up my thoughts on my summer abroad, so you can go check that out. The other page I wrote down "Ayan na naman," which is the Tagalog version of "here we go." If you don't know, I'm Filipino, and so that's why I'm writing that down, because, you know, it's just appropriate. And so after doing that divider page, I'm just going to do a quick walkthrough for you guys and show you, you know, the setup pages in all its glory, in its beautiful light blue washed beauty. And yeah, that's pretty much it, and I should stop rambling. I hope you guys liked this video. I'm definitely gonna be planning to post up my January plan with me soon, so you can look forward to that. If you like this video and you want to see more from me, you can hit that like and subscribe button and give it a little high five. You know, I really appreciate that. And if not, honestly, I'm just happy that you decided to hang out with me today. You know, it's always nice. And yeah, so I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and peace out.